On this edition of Fast Talk, we continue our look ahead to the 2023 NASCAR season as we visit with the Chief Executive Officer of Speedway Motorsports, Marcus Smith. Hi, I'm Doug Rice. I'll be joined by PRN's own Brad Gillie, Alexis Erickson, and David Stiles as we dive into Fast Talk.
It's Fast Talk on the Performance Racing Network, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? Try it today. Now, here's the host of Fast Talk, Doug Rice.
Got a great show laid out for you today. As we said in the open there, we'll be chatting with CEO Marcus Smith from Speedway Motorsports and find out what they've got planned at their family of racetracks for the year. As we record this show, we are less than 4 weeks away from the Busch Clash at the LA Coliseum, and that means, conversely, we are less than 6 weeks away from the Daytona 500. So the fact that NASCAR has one of the longest regular seasons means it also has one of the shortest off season. Let's dive right into some hot topics on this show. Our panelists are Brad Gillie, Alexis Erickson, and David Stiles. And guys, I want to throw this out to you as we're past the new year. It's time to look forward into 2023. Brad, we'll start with you. What are you curious about this year? Is there a team? Is there a driver? Is there someone that has your curiosity piqued that you say, that's who I'm keeping an eye on?
You know, it's more of the series, and probably indirectly in that same way, because I'm more curious to know if we're going to have the same type of parity that we saw in 2022. 5 first-time winners. I don't even know that that's possible to have this year, but 19 different winners throughout the season. Are we going to get more of that? I hope we do. Or are some of the powerhouse teams with the bigger budgets going to be the ones that start to prevail and we start to see things normal out just a little bit? I love what we had in 2022. I hope we have more of it in 2023.
I think you may have a good point there, Brad. I don't think we can have 5 first-time winners this year. Maybe a couple, because we used up so many last year.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, from Austin Cindric to Chase Briscoe and Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez. I mean, we've got Noah Gragson, we've got Ty Gibbs. I guess we've got Ty Dillon, Corey LaJoie. But, the numbers are dwindling because so many drivers that are currently in the NASCAR Cup Series have already been to victory lane. Maybe Ryan Preece could round out that 5 if we could get that many.
All right, we'll bounce over to Alexis Erickson. She is a cat owner and curiosity. Well, never mind what curiosity did to the cat.
Please, no.
No.
Let's not harm cats on this show.
Horrible segue there. All right, Alexis, what are you curious about?
Well, I agree 100% with Brad, but one of the biggest things that I'm going to be looking for is what happens at this Chicago street race. I mean, I think when you look at just the sheer size of what we're going to be doing in Chicago with this street race, the fact that it's never happened in NASCAR before, and what it could mean for the future. If this is a race that is successful, it means we could be in markets that we've always wanted to be in before, but didn't have the capital or want to spend the capital to build big racetracks. So I think one of the biggest things that's going to be on a lot of people's, watch list this season is how this street course in Chicago goes.
Alexis, do you think we will ever see another major speedway constructed?
Oh, that's a really great question. I don't know. And I think it's going to have a lot to do with what we see this season in Chicago. There's certainly, never say never. I've said before, we said, 5 years ago, North Wilkesboro's never coming back. Yeah. And, look where that stands now. So I'm never going to say never. However, I will say that if you have something successful like a Chicagoland street course and you have the ability to hold a big ticket race without constructing a facility, it's going to severely limit the possibility for that in the future.
Yeah, and the capital it takes to build one of these versus the rewards, I don't know. We'll see. I doubt it, especially in the near future. David Stiles, 2023 has arrived. What are you curious about as we get ready to turn the page into this new year?
Well, curious has 2 different definitions. It can either be eager to learn something or strange and unusual. For me, I think it's seeing Kyle Busch in a number 8 car and in a Chevrolet. Or a Chevy. I've kind of butchered that, but I'm going to be interested to see how he does and if he can get multiple wins at RCR. And then I'm also interested to see the 18 no longer be on the track because Ty Gibbs is going to run the 54. So a couple of different things there for on-track performances that I'm interested in.
Brad Gillie, kind of dovetailing off of what David Stiles said there, on track, I know you sort of went with an omnibus approach a moment ago. What do you really tell me what you really think Kyle Busch is going to do?
Well, here's the deal. Kyle Busch is stepping into a car that won 3 races last year, 3 pretty big ones as well between Road America, Indianapolis, and Texas. So already he's in a car that outperformed the one he stepped out of. So I look at it this way. If you're going to compare one thing to another, I think Kyle Busch should not only do better in the number 8 car than what Tyler Reddick did in the number 8 car, but Kyle Busch should also do better than what he did in the 18 car. And I think he's the kind of guy that does race with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And when he has something to prove, he's going to go out there and prove it. So I expect from Kyle Busch to see more than what both the car and he did last year.
David Stiles, let me ask you this. Now, Kyle Busch will be teammates with Austin Dillon. Austin can race at RCR as long as he wants to. His grandfather owns the place. Does this help the driver of the 3 car?
I think so. I mean, you have arguably one of the best on-track drivers still in the sport. I mean, he has the most wins, I think, of anyone active right now in the Cup Series, and he's won a championship, 2 championships. So I think Austin can only learn from Kyle, and I think, RCR was pretty good last year, and I mean, the parity of last season and all the different, nuances of them testing the next-gen car led to some of their success, and Tyler Reddick was really good in that car last year, as you said earlier. So I think it helps Austin Dillon, and he may, win more races next year. I think RCR as a whole group will be better overall with Kyle Busch in that number 8 vehicle.
All right, Alexis, are you liking the idea of Kyle Busch being a mentor to Austin Dillon?
As we were sitting here and I was listening to David talk and Brad talk, I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what kind of teammate Kyle Busch will be. And what situation is he going to find himself in? Because you so plainly said it, Doug, that Austin Dillon isn't, he's not going anywhere unless he wants to go somewhere. And so is that dynamic there going to make a difference at all? Is it going to be that he goes there, and even though Kyle Busch has the resume that he has, Austin Dillon's still kind of the top dog there because of who he is? I think that is going to be a very interesting dynamic and see how that plays out. I think Kyle has gotten to a point in his career where he is more mature than he's ever been, for sure. And I think he will be a good teammate, but to what level, I think that's kind of yet to be determined.
I will say this. I think Kyle Busch has all the qualities to be a mentor and a coach. He has KBM Motorsports, so he has brought a lot of drivers on, and a lot of those drivers have gone on to have great success. Austin Dillon is a good NASCAR driver. He has 4 career wins, including a couple of big ones, Daytona 500, Coke 600. He needs something else to get to that next level, so when we go to the races on the weekend, that we're actually talking about Austin Dillon maybe being a favorite to win that race. Can Kyle Busch be that difference maker? I think that's a great storyline to follow in 2023. We got to take a timeout. When we come back, drivers are spending their own money. We'll find out on what.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-218-4909. 800-218-4909. 800-218-4909. Again, that's 800-218-4909.
I'm Justin Allgaier, and you're listening to Fast Talk on the Performance Racing Network.
Start your engine! Chastain in turn 1 drives it in deep to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll slide up in front of William Byron. 3 wide now, down the backstretch, into the bottom of 3.
Side by side, down the front stretch. 1 lap to go here in Vegas.
Larson with a nose out in front of Bowman down the Nellis straightaway. They stay door to door. side by side. Bowman at the bottom. He slides up in front of Larson. Larson with the crossover. He's out of time. Here goes Ross Chastain. He's going to the bottom of the racetrack.
Now we've got a half a dozen cars sliding through the infield grass.
Noah Gregson has spun, but they are still side by side for the lead. Allmendinger's got the advantage on the inside into turn 3.
When the NASCAR Cup Series races at Las Vegas, Atlanta, Circuit of the Americas, Bristol, Dover, Charlotte, Sonoma, Nashville Superspeedway, New Hampshire, and Texas, it's right here on PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Allmendinger gets jumped out of the way by Kevin Harvick. Harvick goes to P1 with Elliott.
It's Fast Talk here on PRN. Doug Rice with Brad Gillie and Alexis Erickson. Coming up, we chat with the CEO of Speedway Motorsports, Marcus Smith. He'll be in studio with us. And over the last couple of seasons, maybe this is just my imagination. Maybe I'm projecting my own receptors on everybody. But I feel like we've talked more about late model stock car racing in the last couple of years than we have ever before. Part of that is because Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a very deep interest in this sport, and they had a late model stock car race at North Wilkesboro that he ran in, that he finished third, and there's just been a lot of conversation. Josh Berry spends a lot of time in late model stock cars. And now, Alexis Erickson, we have word that the premier late model stock car tour, especially in the Southeast, has been purchased by a conglomerate of NASCAR drivers. What's going on there?
Yeah, I'm going to read this from the press release just because I want to make sure I get it right. It just came out not moments ago. Cars Tour enters 2023 season under new ownership group. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, and Justin Marks partner to purchase Southeast Premier Asphalt Late Model Series. So a lot of these big name drivers, Dale Jr. included, purchasing their own playground, I think is kind of what it looks like here. The guy that runs it now or owned it before, Jack McNeely, is going to continue to run it with him and his team. It looks like he's obviously no longer the owner because now we have this group of owners coming in. And I think what I've read from this press release, most of anything, is that they're going to use their, efforts, all of their companies from DEJ Management, Jeff Burton Autosport, Kevin Harvick Inc., and Trackhouse Racing to really help with the proficiencies in like brand management and business strategy to kind of help propel Cars Tour a little bit further than it is. You're right. It's been, late model stock racing has been on the rise for sure. But I think, the addition of them coming in as an ownership group and using their collective power, which is a lot, we can all, say, to help propel them even higher is just going to be amazing for that series.
So, Brad, here we have Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, Justin Marks. All these folks are pretty well-heeled. None of them have thin pocketbooks. Why are they taking their money and spending it to purchase a late model stock car touring series?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I think, number one, that they just simply believe in grassroots racing. And I think they want to invest in grassroots racing and make grassroots racing better. I do think it's going to be really interesting to see how they get the perspective of what it's like to own and run a sanctioning body, because when we start talking about a lot of the different things that go on in the news, you've got the ownership side, the sanctioning body side, the track ownership side, and all of that. Everyone has their own thing that they do, and sometimes people don't necessarily understand what the other side has. Maybe now they're going to understand what the NASCAR side has by running their own sanctioning body and the cost involved in all of that. But I think ultimately this is really a good-hearted effort just to really take grassroots racing and lift it up. Jeff Burton came up running at South Boston Speedway in late models. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the same thing. Kevin Harvick did it on the West Coast. Justin Marks, look, we know he's open for every opportunity. That is a big deal, and that makes sense. So what the end game is, maybe it's just simply trying to boost this series and grassroots racing. Anything that goes beyond that, I think they're going to have a pretty big learning experience, and look forward to seeing how it goes.
By the way, there are some names that you may recognize that came from this series. Josh Berry, we mentioned, drives for Junior Motorsports. Harrison Burton, he's in the Cup Series now. William Byron, you might have heard of him. Ty Gibbs, Sam Mayer, Myatt Snyder. All of these folks participated in the Cars Tour. I wonder if they need a radio network. Anybody got Junior's number? I could stand to follow these guys around. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So this is a big deal. All right, let's talk about the next thing. Alexis and Brad, I'll throw this out to both of you because I'm curious. Did they get NASCAR to say, yeah, this is cool, go do this before they did it?
Oh, gosh. The one thing that I feel like I know about Dale Earnhardt Jr. is him specifically. If he wants to do something, I don't think he needs anybody's approval to do it, to be completely honest. He says what he feels and I think, what he thinks, and without regard for, I think, what anybody else has to say about it. And that's part of why we all really like him very much, because he can be candid. And I think when it comes to stuff like this, he probably doesn't need approval either.
So, Brad, I'm doing this off the top of my head. NASCAR basically runs IMSA. They bought ARCA. They have their own series. So this is one of the few things indigenous to America that they don't have.
Well, yeah, that's true. And NASCAR has had a lot of regional and touring series and things like that. And, getting down to this level of grassroots is someplace where really they haven't been for a long, long time. And outside of having like the weekly tracks and everything. So it is interesting. I mean, I want to look at this as the positive and ideally a good natured thing. I know the Race Team Alliance has said recently, well, maybe we'll do some races in the off season. And, there are a lot of things out there being thrown out as bargaining chips for what is going to be the upcoming television contract, you would believe. But of course, with everything that you do, there's also the other side of what you do, especially when, part of, the narrative on that side of it has been, well, we race too much, too many days at the track, too many this, too many that. Well, now you're going to go do more of it, which is awesome because we win as far as race fans go. But as far as NASCAR's side of it, shortly after this came out, they retweeted the story, so at least it's on their media as well. And like I said, I look forward to seeing how it goes. I hope it can boost the series, and I hope that they can get everything that they want. Cheaper racing, bigger purses, all of those things that racers are always asking for. Maybe this is a way that they can find to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line is that regardless of who was contacted when and how this whole deal went together, that them owning this series and boosting it up to where it's probably inevitably going to be because they own it is only good for NASCAR, because it helps to bring we talk about how much
promote stock car
racing. How much grassroots racing is important for bringing new fans into motorsports in general, and I think this is only going to help that.
I love this. I think it's great for everybody involved in the cars tours and stock car racing in general.
Yeah.
It raises the level. By the way, their series starts March the 11th at Kinley, North Carolina. That's a great racetrack. I've been there a bunch back in the old Hooters Pro Cup day. So they'll start there. And this will also be part of the action for the 5 days of racing at North Wilkesboro Speedway coming up in May of this year. We'll take a time out. When we come back, we chat with Marcus Smith, the Chief Executive Officer of Speedway Motorsports.
We want to help extend the life of your vehicle. Add Z-Max Micro Lubricant to the fuel and oil where it uses the fluids to reach internal parts. As it soaks into metal, Z-Max disperses harmful carbon buildup to help improve performance, reduce emissions, extend engine life, and increase fuel mileage. Buy Z-Max today at zmax.com or your local auto parts store. Help your vehicle run better with Z-Max Micro Lubricant.
Hi, it's PRN's Brad Gillie. Did you know you could take PRN with you anywhere? That's right. By downloading the PRN mobile app, you can listen to our live race broadcast from anywhere. Make sure you don't miss a second of the action from the track. Download today for station listings and on-demand access to your favorite studio shows like Fast Talk, The Pit Reporters, or Garage Pass. Get all the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app. Download today, available in the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
I'm Kevin Harvick, and you're listening to Fast Talk on the Performance Racing Network.
I'm Paul Shadden Charlotte with Kathy Martindale in Nashville. Here on Z-Max Racing Country, going to Nashville, Kathy and Thomas Ray.
Dierks Bentley said that your album blew his mind. That's probably one of the highest compliments you could get.
Yeah, if Dierks likes it, then you know that hopefully some people are going to like it.
We're so proud of bringing you the best singers in country music and the biggest stars in NASCAR.
Z-Max Racing Country.
Granite State of New Hampshire down through North Carolina and all the way to California, the Speedway Motorsports Incorporated footprint is truly national.
That's your engine! This is Bristol.
Hey, drivers, light these bad boys up! From zero to wow.
We've got a car in trouble, and that, guys, will bring out a caution. Fans are on their feet.
SMI action is never ending. Welcome back to Fast Talk. I'm Doug Rice, joined, of course, by PRN's own Brad Gillie and Alexis Erickson. And our guest on this January edition of the show is, of course, the Chief Executive Officer of Speedway Motorsports, and that would be Marcus Smith. Marcus, thanks for coming on the set today. We appreciate this.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be on with y'all. It's, man, I cannot believe it's already 2023. We're ready to go with the NASCAR season. I can't wait.
So I walked into church the other day and somebody said, "What do you do in the off season? Are you like a school teacher and you go on vacation?"
Oh, pretty much. Yeah, I mean the whole sport sort of shuts down for that break between Christmas and New Year's, maybe a little bit longer. It's like 2 weeks. I feel like it's a shutdown. I know we still have some people around with Christmas lights, and you've got people at the race shops doing their thing, but a lot of the sport sort of takes a little break, and then before you know it, we're ready to get back racing. And that's been that way, ever since I can remember.
All right. I think the operative word there being little break. Brad
Yes.
Gillie.
Yeah, little break. Marcus, I know the core business of Speedway Motorsports is obviously auto racing, and we've got an incredible schedule ahead. 14 Cup races, all the Xfinity and Truck Series races, as well as other series, including IndyCar. But we have a lot of facilities that do a lot of things outside of race time as well. And I know this is a big deal to the company to make sure that we have events all of the time. Can you talk about some of the things outside of racing that's going on within the company?
Oh, yeah, boy, we have so many things. I mean, our speedways are busy with driving schools all the time, all around the country. We had our Christmas light shows at several of the speedways. We have them in Bristol and Charlotte, let me think, Texas, New Hampshire. Several speedways have Christmas light shows after the season. And then auto fairs. I love the car shows that we have. We have big music events, big music festivals, and all sorts of fun activities that make our speedways more than just 1 or 2 weekends a year for NASCAR races. We're also really a big part of every community that we're in. We want to be a part of the community so that people can enjoy coming out to their local speedway and enjoying time, whether it's a special activity like a driving school, or a family activity like Christmas lights, or the drag races that we put on with NHRA, you name it. We just do so many events. I know it's well over 100 on average per speedway.
Kind of piggybacking off of that a little bit, you guys are always on the cutting edge of so much in the NASCAR world. But speaking to the things that you do that's kind of away from NASCAR, there was just an announcement about Supercross that was going to be at ZMAX Dragway this coming season. Is there anything else in addition to that that's kind of new on the forefront for Speedway Motorsports this season?
Well,
that you can announce yet?
Yeah. I mean, we have that big motorcycle event at ZMAX is going to be really cool. I'm excited about that myself. We have monster truck events that are really fun. We've been doing those for years. The biggest new thing that we have going on, you guys know, is North Wilkesboro. I mean, it's going to be so exciting, and we've been working so hard. Y'all know Jessica Fickenshire. She's working hard on that, leading the way, developing the All-Star Weekend at North Wilkesboro Speedway, and then our whole team that's been at work there. I've enjoyed going up a few times, over the Christmas break, and enjoyed seeing all the work that's been done. I've been amazed. But as far as new, that's a big new thing, and I can't help but just smile every time I think about it.
What kind of challenge has it been to make North Wilkesboro Speedway new, yet still have people feel like if they were there in 1996, well, they're there just the next year again, as it being preserved as well?
Yeah, that's right. So Brad, what I like to tell people is we're making it a resto mod, and if you're into old cars like I am, I love old cars, but I also like them to work like a new car, and that's called a restoration and a modernization. And so we're making it a resto mod of a track. We're taking all the great classic parts, all the character of North Wilkesboro Speedway, and we're putting in new electrical, new safer barrier, new catch fence, new plumbing, but we're keeping all the character. We want to keep the the old sign that says that you're at North Wilkesboro. We want to keep some of the classic things like the billboard or the scoring board over in turn 3, where people are actually going to change out the place markers for the race. Lots of things that I hope people are excited to see. I hope that all of our fans, when they walk onto that property, that they feel like they are at a special historical place. And all that's going to be intentional. And we're keeping some rust. We're not going to paint everything. We're going to keep some of that old paint. We're going to let the patina shine through, and that place has been through a lot of years. A lot of history has been made there. A lot of memories have been made there, even more importantly, and we want to keep that sense of history there at the Speedway.
When I think about North Wilkesboro being on the schedule for 2023, I think about how well NASCAR and Speedway Motorsports have done with this schedule going forward to kind of keep a delicate balance of those very sentimental old racetracks coming back as new, but also having very new things like the Chicago Street Course. How important do you feel like that is going forward to keep NASCAR's core fan, but also look to add new fans as well?
Yeah, I think it's really important, Alexis. I think it's really exciting, to see NASCAR embracing new things like, we're going back for the second time this year to the Clash in LA. I'm excited about the street course at Chicago, and I'm so excited about going back to North Wilkesboro. And then, of course, we talk a lot about the Nashville Fairgrounds and the idea of getting that back on track. So, NASCAR's history is priceless. You can't create history. You can't buy it. You can't build it. You've got to really just have history, and you have to embrace it. And I think that's as race fans, that's something that we all appreciate. It seems to be universal in embracing our history and the roots of the sport. So it's really fitting, I think, this year, the 75th, for NASCAR to be doing this new exciting thing in Chicago with the street course and reviving one of the most classic original tracks in North Wilkesboro.
Marcus, it feels like everything that happened with this North Wilkesboro revival happened really quick. One day we're watching an iRacing thing because you and Dale Jr. and some other folks went up and weed-eated the racetrack, and that looked really cool, and it feels like we barely turned the page, and we're announcing that the All-Star race was there. Did it happen as quickly as it felt like?
I think so. How long ago was it that Dale and I were weed eating? Was that 2 years ago?
I was going to say, it couldn't have only been a couple years ago, I feel like.
Yeah. It was before COVID, right?
It was during COVID, yeah.
So it was like January or February of 2020, before COVID. And here we are, 23, getting ready to take the All-Star race there. It is fast. I mean, that's fast in the world of, there's no way this can be done, to here we go with the NASCAR All-Star race. And it's amazing. I'm really I'm tickled about it. I think it's really fantastic. And I love that so many NASCAR fans are excited about it. I'm excited about it too.
All right, we're going to take a break. During the break, we're going to work on Marcus, see if we can get some tickets for the North Wilkesboro race. And we'll come back and continue our conversation with the CEO of Speedway Motorsports.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-472-5145. 800-472-5145. 800-472-5145. That's 800-472-5145.
I'm Martin Truex Jr., and you're listening to Fast Talk on the Performance Racing Network.
Hi, this is PRN's Brett McMillan. You know, you don't spend your life just sitting around, so what you need is PRN's mobile app. By downloading the mobile app, you can listen to our live race broadcast from anywhere. Make sure you don't miss a second of the action from the track. If you download it today, you get station listings and on-demand access to your favorite studio shows like Fast Talk, Pit Reporters, or Garage Pass. Get all the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app. Download today. Available at the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
Get your NASCAR fix with PRN's Garage Pass.
This car puts on really good shows at, mile and a half, 2 mile tracks, and I expect nothing less.
Obviously, it's not the spot we want to be in. We'd love to have a win by now and feel like we should have, but it's just been one of those seasons where when we have cars good enough to win, we haven't done all the other things right.
I feel like it's going to be an opportunity to win and feel like, it's an opportunity to win at home as well. So want to take advantage of both of those things.
Hi, I'm Mark Arrow, tracking the latest racing news every weekday.
It's Fast Talk here on PRN, the Performance Racing Network. Doug Rice joined by Alexis, Erickson, Brad Gillie, and our special guest on this edition is the Chief Executive Officer of Speedway Motorsports, Marcus Smith. Marcus, we've talked about a lot of topics, but for me, the television contract is kind of like the mothership in Independence Day. It hovers over every conversation that we have in the business. What can you share with us on where we are right now, and when do you think maybe the public finds out about this? Because we get asked about this a lot.
Yeah, it is important, but I think it's important to remember for all of us as fans that everything kind of goes back. If you boil it all down to the basics, it's really no more complicated than just having fantastic competition and exciting drama that comes from excellent athletics. Just like we watch any sport. If you watch a great game, it's football playoff season. And if you watch those games when they're great games, whether it's college football or the NFL, those great games that come down to the wire create the interest, the edge of your seat kind of interest and excitement. And of course, then it follows with everything else. And in NASCAR, it all comes down to the racing and the personalities on the track and what happens that fans like us can just watch it and take it in and get enthralled in the competition. And that's what the sport needs to present to our fans, our sponsor partners, our media partners. All of that creates a property that's interesting to broadcasters out there. So for us as fans, I think it's important just to support the sport. Be there at the track, watch on television, engage in social media. All those things. If you want to support the sport, those things really build up and support the individual driver, the teams, the sport overall, and those are good things for the current day and for the future in NASCAR. And things will progress as we go through the calendar this year, and we'll continue to work on those things.
And the current contract runs until
25.
25.
Yeah.
That the end of 25 or the start of 25?
Well, the way that negotiations happen, I always tell our team we're always in renewal mode.
Good idea.
We always want to, and it goes that way whether it's television partners or our fans. We're always working on keeping your business and getting your business. And the way we do that is we provide a great experience.
Right.
That's our focus. We want to provide a great experience so that you always want to come back and see us, or you're a sponsor. We always want you to come back and enjoy your experience with us, and same with our media partners. And let me tell you what, this last season for NASCAR, I think, was one of the best. It's a great start for us in sort of this next gen of racing, and I'm really thrilled to see that. We had some amazing competition. We had some great storylines. We had some exciting races to watch, and part of that is controversial. Part of it is maybe what you expect, and a lot of it's what you didn't expect, and that's all part of the excitement of sports.
Creating that excitement, it's great. This is a perfect segue for something I wanted to ask you about, because when it comes to the racetracks itself, whether it's doing things different like the Roval, going to Circuit of the Americas, to dirt at Bristol, we already talked about North Wilkesboro, fan amenities like what you've done at Sonoma, what you've done at Texas with the bars and all of that. But one of the really cool things that happened last year at Charlotte was just a very viral, organic thing that happened on social media. And Marcus, you actually helped bring drivers back out to the Midway to sign autographs for race fans, and literally what was just an exchange of tweets between you and Brad Keselowski. What can you tell us about that, and maybe how that might help even improve the fan experience moving forward?
Absolutely, Brad. I'm glad you brought that up, because so what we did, let me go back and explain. I saw Brad Keselowski tweet something about how he would come out and sign autographs at his souvenir hauler if the tracks wouldn't charge so much in parking fees and commission on sales. And so I tweeted Brad back. A fan had tagged me in this tweet and said, hey, Marcus Smith can do something about that. So I tweeted back to Brad and said, I won't charge you any commission if you come out and sign every day during the weekend. So you come out Saturday and Sunday and no commission at all. And Brad responded and said okay, essentially, and we worked out the details privately, but Brad and Jeff Gordon and a number of drivers came out, signed autographs at Charlotte in the Midway, and it was so well received. Thousands of NASCAR fans came out and got an autograph, got a picture with these NASCAR superstars, and it wouldn't have happened without Brad sort of putting that out there, and I was thrilled that we could see that happen. So I've talked to a number of the drivers and team owners, and I really want to do that again this year. We're working with the teams and drivers, and hopefully we can get it done. But for any team owner or president or driver that's out there that listens to this year, 2023, if you sign autographs on Saturday and Sunday, there's no commission that we'll charge for that team and driver for trackside sales at our events. So would love to see that happen at every NASCAR race weekend.
I think that's a perfect case study for how, if we as an industry work together to kind of overcome certain challenges, how we can make it inviting and welcoming for everybody, and that's just wonderful. I remember seeing that play out on my Twitter feed, thinking this is awesome. One of the other things, we have tons of races on the schedule. Obviously, we have for us, it'll be our first season doing Nashville and Dover, so we're very excited about that from the PRN standpoint. But lots of new things. Specifically, one of the ones that I was thinking about was Nashville and Atlanta have later start times later in the season. And I think that's another outreach to the fans to try to make things a little bit more comfortable for them in those summer months. Can you just talk a little bit about how, that came to be? And
yeah, it's really just, like you said, focused on the fans during that summertime. Maybe making the races a little bit later will help with the weather. And so, we're hopeful that makes a difference. I know that we did that last year in Vegas. We had a race that was earlier in the calendar in September, and we moved it to October, and fans responded in a big way. Thank you to all those Las Vegas Motor Speedway fans out there. We appreciate everybody showing up so well in this past fall's race there. So for Atlanta and Nashville, we know it's hot, so we want to do everything we can to help get it in the cooler part of the day.
By the way, Alexis is excited going back to Dover. She started her racing career there as an intern.
I did.
All right.
I did,
great,
yeah.
Great.
I was very happy when I saw that they were coming into the Speedway Motorsports family, because that's really where I got my start. So.
That's great.
One last question. One of the things that I feel like is your focus is that whole fan interaction, the fan zone, all the things that happen away from the ribbon of asphalt at all these racetracks. Can you address that?
Well, that's our responsibility. That's the way we look at it. We're the host of the party, so to speak, and we promote the events. We sell you the tickets. We want to make sure that you get parked well, that you have good camping sites, that you have clean bathrooms and great amenities and concessions. We're hosting the party, and the drivers and the teams and NASCAR, they put on the race itself, but everything else is the responsibility of the Speedway. And that's a big responsibility for us. When that hit me is when, years ago I was working in the ticket office, and I realized very quickly that a lot of you fans out there, you've been coming to these races for a long time. And I've heard so many fans talk about, my seats, that, where they were sitting, the row, the seat number at whatever speedway it was. In this case, it was Charlotte. Those were their seats. And the same thing happened with campsites. And people talked about, my campsite. And I realized, that this is more than just a sporting event. And I was, early 20s, and, I was actually still in college, I think, so I must have been 18, 19 years old. And I just realized that, like I said, this is more than just a sporting event. This is a passion. This is, something that as fans, we really identify with and invest in and create these memories of a lifetime. And I realized what an incredible responsibility we have as a Speedway to make sure that we're doing everything we can to have a wonderful event for all of our fans that come and visit us from hundreds of miles away. So that's what it's all about for us as the promoter of the show, if you will.
All right, I know for the Coca-Cola 600 this year, the Doobie Brothers with Michael McDonald are going to be playing. Thank you very much,
The
by the
Doobies.
way.
How many people have been... I've gotten so many questions about the Doobies coming to Coke 600. People are excited.
Well, they've been around a while, 5 centuries. I've probably seen them 20 times, Marcus.
Unreal.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing them.
You're a big music nut, aren't you?
I am.
I love it.
Yes, I am.
I love
it. I was at Charlotte for the August Jam.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that.
I understand.
No reason. All right.
I hope some other people out there listening also went to the August Jam and know what you're talking about.
There were about 250,000 people here, so it was a pretty big crowd.
Wow.
If you could snap your fingers and bring, last question, one music act to any of the Speedway Motorsports tracks, and you just, boom, there
Holy
they are.
cow.
Who does Marcus Smith bring?
Can I give you two?
You can give us two.
Okay.
Sure.
U2 for me.
Wow.
U2. I'm a big U2 fan.
That sounds like a college thing.
I don't know. You know, I got a big brother. My big brother loved U2 and REM growing up, so I loved U2 and REM, and I still listen to U2. They're awesome. I mean, what you said,
Yeah,
so,
I did.
Like, that's huge.
Yeah, that's big.
And then second, I proudly have been to, I think, 5 One Direction concerts with my daughter. One Direction, Harry Styles, and I think that would be, if we could get One Direction, and I know like a lot of you fans out there, I hope some of you have been to a One Direction or a Harry Styles concert with your daughters, if you have a daughter. If not, it's quite an experience, and I don't think we have enough seats at the speedways to handle all the people that would want to come to a Harry Styles or a One Direction concert.
That's thinking big, though. That's awesome.
Why not think big?
Total
You gave me any.
opposite ends of the spectrum there. All right, Marcus, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Doug, Alexis, Brad. Good seeing y'all.
Marcus Smith, Chief Executive Officer of Speedway Motorsports. Coming up next, you know it, you love it. It's Green Flag, Black Flag.
Grime, friction, wear, destructive words when it comes to an engine. Adding Z-Max micro lubricant to your oil and fuel allows it to soak into metal to disperse harmful carbon deposits. You wouldn't wax a car with dirt on it. Don't run your engine without Z-Max. Help improve performance, reduce emissions, extend engine life, and improve fuel mileage with Z-Max micro lubricant. Get Z-Max today at zmax.com or your local auto parts store.
Make your plans now to stay at the South Point Hotel Casino and Spa next March when NASCAR returns to Las Vegas. They have great race ticket and room packages for you to choose from. The South Point also features a wide variety of excellent dining options at 11 different restaurants. Or you can enjoy the 16-screen movie complex and visit the 64-lane bowling center. Visit southpointcasino.com and make your reservations today. Stay where the racers stay at the South Point Hotel Casino and Spa.
I'm Joey Logano, and you're listening to Fast Talk on the Performance Racing Network.
Hey, I'm Corley Joy for Speedway Children's Charities. The mission for Speedway Children's Charities has remained true since its founding almost 40 years ago: to care for children in educational, financial, social, and medical needs in order to help them lead happy and productive lives. So many children have benefited from our group in the past, but we need your help now more than ever. Our local chapters are more than just fundraisers. They are partners in change, working with a broad range of people and organizations to help children in their communities. Want to make a real difference in a child's life? Start by heading to speedwaycharities.org today. Make a donation, volunteer, or attend one of the dozen fundraising events we host at our chapters. There's so much we can do when we all join together, so let's start today. Again, visit speedwaycharities.org to learn more. I thank you in advance for your help.
And we greatly appreciate Marcus Smith giving up some of his time to visit with us here on Fast Talk. It is time now for us to segue to a part of the show that we just relish.
It's time for another edition of Green Flag, Black Flag. You know, when you use that word relish, it just makes me want a hot dog. Doug. That's all. All right, we read some astute statements here to our panel. If they agree, they give it a green flag, and you hear this. And if they disagree, we get this. That's right. Here we go. Statement 1, we'll start with Brad Gillie. Alex Bowman will finally get a Chili Bowl win, but as an owner, not a driver.
You know what? I'll say green flag, and because I'm optimistic for Alex Bowman. He keeps going to the Chili Bowl. Some years he drives, some years he doesn't. This year he's actually driving, and if you're listening to Fast Talk on Monday night, then he's actually in tonight's preliminary event. But yeah, I think so. Why not? Why not Alex Bowman get a win as an owner of the Chili Bowl?
All right, very good. Doug Rice.
I'm going to agree with Brad Gillie. Sure. Go get him.
I get nervous when you two agree. How about this, Alexis Erickson? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Look, the Chili Bowl is a hard race to win no matter who you are, but once you do it long enough, maybe there's a shot. He's been there long enough, so.
I think it's his 8th year.
Yeah. He's been doing it a while. Hopefully this is his year.
All right, Doug gets this one first. Ty Gibbs will finish higher than Kyle Busch in the 2023 point standings.
Ty Gibbs will finish higher than Kyle Busch.
Huh.
No. Absolutely. Black flag all day long.
All right, Alexis Erickson.
Yeah, I'm going to say black flag too. We talked about earlier in the show about how Kyle is going into a car that won 3 races last year, and the expectations are high. We think he's going to be pretty good in that ride, and it's always hard for a rookie, no matter who you are or what ride you're going into. So, yeah, I say black flag.
All right, let's see if Brad agrees.
Boy, I want to be different. But I can't. I have to agree. Black flag. Look, the fact of the matter is, I know we're excited about the rookie class coming in with Ty Gibbs and Noah Gragson, but they're rookies, and we saw what they did last year. Hopefully, they build on it. But there are some things that I would say are just not possible. That's close to one of them.
Very good. All right, 3 black flags on that one. How do we do on this one? We start with Alexis. Kyle Busch wins more races than Reddick.
That's an interesting question because obviously they, Kyle Busch is taking over for Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick is going over to 2311 Racing. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say green flag. I think Kyle Busch wins more races than Reddick. I think they both get W's this season, but I think Kyle's going to probably get a few more.
All right. What do you think, Brad?
Black flag. I'll say it for this reason. All right, let's be honest. Toyota struggled on road courses last year, and I realize that there are a couple of aerodynamic changes to all 3 manufacturers for more parity. But Tyler Reddick got 2/3 of his wins on road courses last year, and he's going to Toyota. I think Kyle is going to have a better opportunity for more wins at more tracks.
All right, Mr. Rice.
I know there are some that think that I'm anti-Kyle Busch. I think Kyle Busch
hands are up,
but I think he will
there's
win.
Evidence to these
yes,
facts,
there is history, but I think he wins more. I don't know. I feel very confident about this marriage between him and RCR, and the fact that I feel like pound for pound RCR was a better team last year than Joe Gibbs Racing or Toyota in general. And I know Reddick's at 2311, but sister organization. So I'm going to say Kyle Busch wins more races than Tyler Reddick.
All right. Alexis Erickson. Oh, you've already done it. I'm sorry. You want to change your answer, Alexis, while you have time?
I'm sticking with my original answer.
Okay. Go back to Brad for this one on the first one. The best winter comfort food is, without a doubt, chili.
Oh, you know what? Green flag. Because as you were asking that question, I was thinking, where is this one going? And then all of a sudden you said chili, and I thought, well, it's going in my belly next after we're done with the show.
Exactly right. Doug Rice.
I can't argue with that. I've got to, if it's snowing, we fix a big pot of oyster stew at the house. But winter comfort food, chili with some cornbread and some onions sprinkled on top. That's pretty powerful.
All right, Alexis.
Yeah, I have to say green flag too, and the reason why is because that is the meal that I want to make when weather turns cold. Like, I don't typically make it in the summertime. I only typically make it in the wintertime, and as soon as you get those first couple cold days, I'm like, oh, got to make some chili.
Little cornbread.
Green flag on that oyster stew as well.
I kind of like that too. That's good.
Bring some of that in.
All right, Doug Rice, what do we got?
Coming up next, we are going to delve into one last thing.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-583-5345. 800-583-5345. 800-583-5345. That's 800-583-5345.
I'm Matt DiBenedetto, and you're listening to Fast Talk on the Performance Racing Network.
Hey, I'm Paul Shadden Charlotte with Kathy Martindale in Nashville on the Performance Racing Network.
This is Z-Max Racing Country Classics. Let's head to Charlotte now and join Paul with Chase Elliott.
Tell me this, growing up as Bill Elliott's little boy, did you know Rick Hendrick at all?
The first time I ever spoke a word to him was when I was about 15, and we were just talking racing.
Z-Max Racing Country Classics.
Mike Rowe here with a gentle reminder that civilization is held together by pipes, wires, and cables. It's true. There are over 5 million miles of gas lines, power lines, fiber optic lines, water lines, and sewer lines, all buried beneath your feet. And every 60 seconds, somebody digs into one. Look, if you're thinking about digging around, do yourself a favor and call 811 first just to find out what's down there. Trust me, you don't want to find out the hard way. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit safeexcavator.com for more info.
Welcome back to Fast Talk. We believe in transparency on this show. Why? Because that's kind of a trendy thing, and everybody says, hey, we're transparent, and you know what we're thinking, what we're doing.
Where is this going?
Even though they're lying. When people say they're transparent, you should be aware because they're not telling you the truth. But I stole this bit off of several other shows because I like it, so let's go.
One last thing.
I did massage the title just a bit. Keep away from trademark laws. All right, Brad Gillie, one last thing on this outstanding edition of Fast Talk.
Well, just so you know, I fancy myself as opaque as opposed to transparent. But with that being said, I'm going to be all about the positive. And the great Ron Swanson, known in his real life as Nick Offerman, has a few books out there of which I've read. And one thing he says when it talks about being out there on the roads, and look, we've all been guilty of road rage. Heck, I do it pushing my cart through the shopping center. But that being said, let the other person go. And I've tried to adopt that philosophy here in the new year and let the other person go. And it's amazing how much happier I am behind the wheel.
All right, there you go. Especially every state has its own challenge when you come to intersections. Alexis.
You go, then I go. You go, then I go. That's how that works, right? Well, I really didn't have anything prepared for today, and I just happened to have a little rant in one of the commercial breaks. And Doug and Brad said, that should be your one last thing. So you know how when you have to call and you're on hold, we were talking about hold music and how some people have good hold music and some people don't have good hold music. What really gets me is when you call and you have to hear the same automatic recording over and over again, and every single phone call you call, no matter number you call, no matter who it is, says, please listen carefully, our options have changed. Has everybody's options changed? Why have everybody's options changed? It doesn't make any sense to me. We will listen carefully, I promise you. We'll get where we need to go. We don't need to know that your options have changed because they probably haven't changed.
And does that mean that the options you had before were awful?
Right,
Probably so.
Yeah.
I've got actually one last things here.
Oh.
This week is, of course, the Chili Bowl that takes place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. To the folks at Chili Bowl, you have a marvelous race. It is awesome. Can you figure out a way to finish it before 12:45 in the morning? It's all I ask. I like to stay up. I like to watch it, but when it goes
but
into
I'm also a grumpy old man.
When it goes into the next day, no, I don't know who's going to win the thing. By the way, Tulsa's gotten a lot of pub lately. They have their own show now,
Yes.
Tulsa King, starring Sylvester Stallone. If you haven't watched it, it's fantastic. I really like it. It's a great mob show. So if you were a fan of The Sopranos, check out Tulsa King. By the way, the incident involving the Buffalo Bill player Damar Hamlin, I know that's kind of old news by now, but for one little moment in this country's history, I felt like everybody was united together, thinking about and praying for this one guy to come out of it. And apparently that story is going to have a happy ending. And speaking of happy endings, we wish the best for a longtime veteran sports broadcaster and one-time NASCAR broadcaster, Eli Gold, diagnosed with cancer, but it looks like Eli is going to win this battle, and he'll be back calling the Alabama Crimson Tide next year. Thanks to all of our panelists, the guys behind the glass, David Stiles and Kent Bernhardt. I'm Doug Rice. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week, you guessed it, with a whole bunch more Fast Talk.
Fast Talk was presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? And Progressive, celebrating 10 years of providing vehicles to veterans through their Keys to Progress program. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.